So we will start the adjustment and impulse control disorder. So from that we will start with adjustment disorder. So what is this adjustment disorder? Adjustment disorders are conceived of as developing response to a variety of causal stressful event. So it's a response towards the stressful event, we can say. So adjustment disorder is a developing response. You are developing your response towards a stressful event. The symptoms presenting an adaptation to this stressor or to their continuing effect. So as a result of this stressful event, you are presenting, you are trying to adapt with the situation. You are trying to adapt with the stressful event. So related to that, you will have the symptoms and that effect to their continuing effect. To their continuing effect means what? To their continuing effect of stressful event. You will develop certain symptoms and that is called your adjustment disorder. So adjustment disorder is a developing response. You are developing the response to a variety of stressful events. The symptoms presenting an adaptation. Your symptoms presenting you an adaptation means you are trying to adapt to this stressor or to their effect. So your symptoms is a presentation towards the adaptation towards the stressor or towards their continuing effect. So these adjustment disorders are a group of condition. It's a group of condition that can occur when you have difficulty coping with a stressful event. So when you have a stressful life event, so you may have the difficult coping. So it's a condition that can occur when you have difficulty coping. So adjust when there is an adjustmental problem, when we are coping with certain event, when we are coping with certain stressful life event. For example, I can give you if someone is newly married, for that bride, that married environment or the in-law family is a completely new environment, so she is trying to adjust over there, she is trying to cope up with that new situation, and that is called adjustment. But when it is bothering her, when it is disturbing her in any areas of functioning, then that will, and it will last for a longer period, then that will called as adjustment disorder. So these can include the death of a loved one, what I told to you, examples like death of a loved one, relationship issues, if there is no good relationship between the husband and wife, spousal relationship issues, or being fired, you are fired from your job or work, then that may cause the adjustment disorder. While everyone encounters stress, we all are coming across the stress in our day-to-day life. But some people have trouble handling certain stresses. What do you think? If all the people who are coming across stress, they are having the problem? No. Some people may take it in an easy way, but others may take it in a very serious way. They may have difficulty in handling those situations. So that is called your, they are having adjustment problem. Adjustment disorder was introduced into the psychiatric classification system almost 30 years ago, although the concept was recognized for many years before that. This concept was recognized before many years, like we all have adjustment problem, but this diagnosis, it is done 30 years before. In DSM-4, 6 subtypes are described based on the predominant symptoms. As per the DSM-4, there are 6 subtypes of this adjustment disorder having, but no further diagnostic criteria are offered to assist the clinician. So there is no such diagnostic criteria for adjustment disorder. So this is about your adjustment disorder. Next, how can we define this adjustmental disorder? So it's a maladaptive reaction. It's not an adaptive reaction. It's a maladaptive or unhealthy reaction to an identifiable psychosocial stressor. The stressor you have identified that it is a psychosocial stressor, and towards that, what is your maladaptive reaction? And that occurs within 3 months after onset of stressor. One girl has married to that has got married, and he went to her in-law family one day, and from that day up to 3 months, from the first day she is confronting herself with the stressor first day, but within 3 months or after that onset of the stressor, within these 3 months, if he is If she is having certain problems to that stressor or psychosocial stressor, then that will be known as adjustment disorder. The individual shows impairment in social and occupational functioning due to that adjustmental problem. So due to that adjustmental problem, the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's an identifiable reaction towards the psychosocial stressor, which occurs within 3 months after onset of the stressor. The individual shows impairment in social occupational functioning that are in excess of expectable reaction to the stressor. So the person is having maladaptive reaction towards the psychosocial stressor, and within 3 months of the after onset of the stressor, the person is having problem adjustment problem, and that is showing some significant impairment in the social and occupational areas due to the excess of expectable reaction, due to the excess of reaction towards the psychosocial stressor. That is called your adjustment disorder. So what is the epidemiology? Next comes to your epidemiology of this adjustment disorder. So principal diagnosis in OPD, 5 to mainly the diagnosis made in OPD or OPD, clinical psychiatric outpatient department. That is 5 to 20% people are coming OPD, they will have the adjustment disorder. According to DSM-5, it estimates approach 50% in hospital psychiatric consultation settings. So in DSM-5, it is estimated that 50% people who are coming to the psychiatric consultation setting, they will have the adjustmental, they are having the adjustmental problem. And women are more likely to diagnosed with AD than the men. So in comparison to men, women are having more infinity towards the, or they are having more adjustment problem than the men. So this is the prevalence of adjustment disorder. Outpatient clinics, 10% adults are coming with AD. Children and adolescents, 16%. Emergency room, 13%. 43% children and adolescents. Psychiatric admission occurs, 7%. And children and adolescents, 34%. General hospital inpatient, total 12 to 13%. Then stroke or coronary artery bypass graft, 50% adjustmental problem. Then entire population. So if we count the total population, then 4 to 7% of total population are having adjustmental disorder. So higher rate of adjustmental disorder seen among person with suicidality, especially among adolescents and young adults. So adolescents and young adults are more prone to have AD, and they are having suicidality attitude also. They are combining with AD is combining with suicidality, and that is more prevalent among adolescents and young adults. It is 3 times as common as major depression. So when we compare it with major depression, then it is common 3 times. It is common with major depression. So I have collected so many recent research studies, like Mitchell et al. 2011 reported in their review and meta-analysis a high point prevalence of AD of 19.4 percentage of patients in oncological unit. They are having adjustmental problem. Those are having cancer and all, hematological care setting, and 15.4% of patients in palliative care setting. So these are the percentage of people who are having adjustment problem. Then a cross-sectional study was conducted at outpatient psychiatric clinic in Duhok City from July 2008 to July 2009. 637 patients equal and above 18 of both genders were selected randomly for the study. SCRD and IP version 2.0 was adapted for the diagnosis of the patient with AD. SPSS version 21 used for the data analysis. So what is the study result? The study showed that the prevalence of AD was 11.5%. It was more common among the young age group. So mostly it is affecting the youngsters, that is between 15 to 25 years, with a rate of 69.9 percentage. while the lowest educational illiterate people, that is 53.5%, this is the prevalence, and single students like 54.8%, 39.7, and from urban areas 71.2% with statistically significant associations. Although AD was more common among the females, so that is 61.6. So this is the prevalence of adjustment disorder among the youngsters. This is more prevalent. Then along with that, lower educational status people are very prone to have this adjustmental disorder. Then your uh, females are more prone to get this adjustmental disorder, and those are having suicidality attribute or suicidal tendency, they will have the adjustmental disorder. Next is what are the etiological factors responsible for the AD. So first of all, we have to understand the link between the AD and the individual. So when there is a stressor, when the person interacting with the stressor, or there is a two factors are compulsory. So one is stressor, another one is individual. So when an individual confronted himself with a stressor or exposes himself with a stressor, one react. They both are interacting with each other. So that reaction will be formulated, and some may ease that one, some may take it in that reaction in a easy way, but some may not. Okay, and those are failed to take it in that easy way, they may have the adjustmental problem. So stressor and individual, when they interact with each other, that may cause the adjustmental disorder for some cases. So what are those stressors that may cause the adjustmental disorder? Stressor can be a single event. Single stressor will be there, like your divorce, like your breakup of a relationship, being fired from a job. That is a single event that may cause the adjustment disorder. There may be a multiple causes. There may be a multiple stressor. Like there is a problem in the business and there is a problem in the marital status. Both factors are combined with each other. So that will cause the adjustmental problem. Then stressor may be recurrent. It's recurrently, repeatedly. Business crisis that occur also in the off season. So you cannot predict that when the crisis will occur. So it is recurrently, continuously, again and again it's coming, business crisis. So that may be a stressor. Unfulfilling sexual relationship. The sexual relationship is not that much satisfactory. So that may be a stressor. Then continuous stressor can include continuous painful illness that increases the disability. So painful illness, like you're having cancer, so that is a very painful event, painful illness that will cause the disability. Next, residing in a crime-filled community. If you are living in a crime-filled areas, or if you are residing, staying in a crime-filled community, so that is a continuous stressor that is attached with you continuously, and you are dealing with that stressor. That is called continuous stressor. Some stressor can affect an entire family or community, like natural disaster, terrorism, like now this COVID-19 pandemics or outbreak. So this is a stressor which affect the entire family or the community or to the globe. Okay. Some of the stressor can accompany specific developmental events. Like what example I told to you, you are getting married. That is a stress for you. That is a stressor for you. You are newly going to the school. You are trying to adjust with the school environment. Becoming a new parent. So the total life is going to be changed. Leaving your parents' home. After marriage, you are leaving your parents' home. Then re-entering the parents' home after being away, like such as having been at college, after marriage a relationship breakup was there, and you are returning to your parents home or in your in-law family, or there is a loss of job, that is a means a developmental stressor. Failure to succeed in a career, in your career you are failed to you are a failure. Then retirement, so that is also a developmental stage. So what are the stressors coming during your developmental period, that is known as your developmental stressor. So while confronting with this stressor, while interacting with this stressor, we may develop the adjustmental. it's not necessary that every individual while interacting with the stressor, they will develop the adjustment disorder. Some people may develop the adjustment disorder. So there are certain reasons. First is psychology. Who can develop the adjustmental disorder? So first one is psychological vulnerability. This is the etiological fact. That is your psychological vulnerability. A person's ego strength that determines his or her vulnerability to stressor. So what is my ego strength? How I can see the situation, how I can handle the situation. This is my ego strength, how to manage the situation. If that will determine your vulnerability towards stressor. If your ego strength is very weak, you cannot tolerate the stressors. You cannot cope up with the stressor, you cannot fight with the stressor. Okay, so early experience with diminished control may foster early experience with diminished. That means your ego strength has not been developed properly. From a early childhood, you have experienced something you have came across some stresses. So early experience with diminished control may foster a cognitive style characterized by an increased probability of interpreting or processing subsequent events as out of one's control. Suppose in early life you are being abused by something, or you are being abused by someone. So that will remain in your cognition. Okay, that stressor will remain in your cognition. So when you are again confronting with that kind of situation, you will think that the situation is my out of control. I cannot handle this situation. I cannot fight with that situation. So you will more vulnerable to have the psychological issues. So this is called your psychological vulnerability. So early experience may be a factor to be a vulnerable for causing any adjustmental disorder. So from the childhood, from the early life, you should develop your ego strength, how to find out how to fight with the stressor, how to tackle the stressor, what is coming into your life, everyday life it's coming. Next is your contemporary psychodynamic theory. This is another etiological factor. So it focuses on the context in which an event occurs. Okay, it focuses on how the event has, it focuses on that topic, and it focuses on that constant which an event occurs, how the event has been occurred, and this leads to symptom formation. Due to that event, due to the stressful event, you have developed certain reaction, and that reaction is your symptom towards the stressor. A stressor leads to generation of an effective information. So two things can be done. When you are coming across the stressor, you may learn something, or generation of an effective information. Your affect will be developed accordingly. Like you, when you are confronting with the stressor, you are very sad, you are very distressed. So this is your affect. But some people may fight with the stressor or confronts with the stressor. They take it in a positive way. They are happy. They think it as a opportunity to find out the solution of a problem. So that is you are generating the affective information in your mind. So that will help you to fight in later life. When that any stress will come, you can use that if affective information, or you can use that coping strategies to fight with that situation. So a stressor leads to generation of an effective information, which in turn leads to desire for understanding this affect. So it leads to desire. You wanted to, now you want to understand this affect. What is it? Suppose you are going through, you have lost your close family member. So you are under grief. Okay. So you are trying to understand why this grief. What is grief? Huh? So many different effect will come, so many emotions will come out during this, or symptoms will come out. But if you are trying to understand this, then that will be very positive, that will help you in later life to fight with any situation. If you are failed to attune to this, if you are failed to achieve to this affect, you are not able to understand this affect, that this is a part of grief. Due to the loss of the family members, we have this grief, and we are coming across, after a certain day it will recover. If you are not understanding, or if it is not entering into your cognitive level, then it will be criticized. It will, if you are rather criticized, to reject or neglect the individual, then he or she cannot cope up with his or or leading to symptom. He cannot cope up with the situation, and finally he will develop the symptoms formation like reaction of adjustmental disorder. So this is the theory. Next is your biological theory. So some theories postulates or hypothesize that changes following acute stressful event experiences may lead to long-term risk factors. So if in your childhood you have experienced certain stressful events, like someone has been raped, someone has been sexually abused, that will be a long-term risk factor for the future capacity to cope up with the stress. So it will be a risk factor for the future, how to cope up with the stress. Allostatic load of neurochemical network may be related to individual resilience. Means due to certain increase or decrease neurochemical factors like testosterone will be decreased, then other neurotransmitter, other neurochemical factors will be high. So HPA axis will be high. So that allostatic load of neurochemical network will cause the adjustment disorder, and that depend upon the individual how to cope up with the situation. Then how to make the diagnostic criteria for the DSM-5, and how we can make the diagnosis that is based upon the diagnostic criteria, that is your DSM-5 and ICD-10. So I have done the comparison between DSM-4 and DSM-5. Now as we are following the DSM-5 in every digit, this is the current one. In DSM-4, it was the development of emotional or behavioral symptoms. It is adjustment disorder is the development of emotional or behavioral symptom in response to an identifiable stressors that occurring within 3 months of the onset of the stressor. So this is the definition given by or information given by DSM-4, and the same thing given by DSM-5. So there will be emotional behavioral symptom that will occur in response to a identifiable stressor or certain stressor, and that occurs within 3 months of onset of the stressor. Within that 3 months, the person is having behavioral problem, and that is known as adjustment disorder. So second is according to DSM-4, these symptoms or behaviors are clinically significant as evidenced by either of the following: marked distress, that is in excess of what would be expected from exposure to the stressor. So marked distress occurs due to exposure to the stressor, in that occurs in an excessive form. Then significant impairment in social or occupational academic functioning. So this is given by DSM-4. So let's see what is given in DSM-5. These symptoms or behaviors are clinically significant as evidenced by one or both of the following. Okay, one or both of the. In 4 it was given either of the following. Here one or both of the following: marked distress, that is out of proportion to the severity or intensity of the stress. So intensity of the stressor will be very high, and taking into account the external context and the cultural factor that might external context or the cultural factor that may influence the symptoms severity. So symptom severity is enhanced through the cultural factor or the external factor or external context. And presentation, so symptoms presentation is there due to the cultural factor and the external factor, and that causes significant impairment in the social, occupational, or any other important areas of the functioning. So this is given in more clarified way. It is given in DSM-5. Then next criteria is the stress related to disturbance doesn't meet the criteria for another specific axis 1 disorder. So it doesn't meet the stress related disturbances is not meeting the criteria of axis 1 disorder, which is given in DSM-4, and it is not merely an exacerbation of pre-existing axis 1 or so it's not coming under axis 1 disorder and axis 2 disorder. Next, see according to DSM-5, the stress related disturbances doesn't meet the criteria of any other mental disorder and is not merely an exacerbation of a pre-existing mental. So this disorder is not occurring due to any kind of mental disorder or pre-existing mental disorder. Then D, the symptoms do not represent the bereavement. So symptoms is not a bereavement. You cannot consider this symptom as a bereavement. So the symptoms do not represent normal bereavement. Okay. So symptoms do not represent normal day. It's not normal bereavement. If a person has lost something, this and he is in bereaved state, this is not a normal. The way he is behaving, the way he is responding to the situation, that is not normal bereavement. Clear? Next is once the stressor or its consequence has terminated, the symptoms do not persist for more than an additional 6 months. So once the stressor will be subsided, the symptoms will not be persist for more than 6 months, additional 6 months. So that is same for the DSM-5. Then you have to specify if acute, if the disturbance lasts less than 6 months. If you have to specify if the disturbance is less than 6 months, it is acute. If the disturbance is more than 6 months, it is chronic. But it is not specified. DSM-5 has not specified it, whether it is acute or chronic. Because if it is within 6 months, the symptoms will be subsided. If it is within 3 months, then it is called adjustment disorder. Next one is adjustment disorders are coded based on the subtypes which is selected according to the predominant symptoms. The specific stressor can be specified on axis 4, 309.0 with depressed mood. These are the subtypes. Depressed mood with anxiety 309.24, 309.28 with mixed anxiety and depressed. So it is comorbidity or associated with this disorder. 309.3 with disturbances of conduct, it may associate with conduct disorder with mixed disturbance of emotion and conduct, and 309.9 it is unspecified. So these are the subtypes of adjustment disorder according to DSM-4. Then according to DSM-5 specify whether 309.0 with depressed mood, that is your low mood, tearfulness or feelings of hopelessness are predominant. So you have to specify. Then 309.24 with anxiety, that is so in a clarified way it is given in DSM-5 that anxiety like your nervousness, worry, jitteriness, separation anxiety is predominant. 309.28 with mixed anxiety and depressed mood, a combination of depression and anxiety is predominant. Then 309.3 with disturbance of conduct is predominant. 309.4 with mixed disturbance of emotion and conduct, like both emotional symptoms like depression and anxiety and a disturbance of conduct are predominant. Then 30.9 unspecified for maladaptive reaction that are not classifiable as one of the specific subtypes of it is not unspecified. So whatever the information DSM-5 has been given, that is in a more elaborative or more explanatory way they have given. So this is the diagnostic criteria made by the DSM-5. Next comes your what are the clinical presentation of this adjustment disorder. So the premise of an adjustment disorder is a psychological response. So I told you from the beginning, it is a psychological response to an identifiable stressor. So towards the stressor, it's your response, it's your reaction that results in development of clinical significant emotional or behavioral symptoms that occurs within 3 months. So what is your response that develops within 3 months of onset of the stressor? That is your clinical presentation. What are the common symptoms related to this adjustment disorder? Like you will develop the depressed mood, low self-esteem, suicidal behavior, increased motor activity, hypervigilance, impulsivity, and substance abuse. These are the common symptoms. Other symptoms like acting more rebellious or impulsive, very aggressive, acting anxious, withdrawn attitude, you are not sociable with any other, always withdrawn yourself, then feeling sad or hopeless, suicidal thoughts or attitude, loss of self-esteem, crying, unspecific somatic complaints you may develop, then phobic symptoms in related to place, person, or the event you may develop the phobia, and that is a decreased drive or desire to do anything. So these are the symptoms of adjustment disorder. So how whether it will means combine with any other associated disease? Yes, it may not. It may be combined with other associated disease. Mainly, the comorbidity is not limited to personality disorder. So it may be comorbidity may be with the personality disorder, but it extends to other conditions like substance abuse, especially in adults. So personality disorder, substance abuse can be a comorbidity. Greenberg found that among those admitted with a diagnosis of adjustment disorder, 59% had a new primary diagnosis of substance abuse disorder at discharge. That overall 76 had either a primary or secondary diagnosis of substance abuse. So it cleared that the comorbidity, the adjustment disorder may combine a comorbidity with personality disorder and substance abuse disorder. Next, one thing, 30% of AD are having suicidal disorder or suicidal thoughts. So, AD may combine with the suicidality. That is a 30%. So, what may be the differential diagnosis for the like depressive disorder can be done, PTSD can be done, acute and acute stress reaction can be done, personality disorder or suicidality can be done. So, these are the differential diagnosis can be made for the AD. So, what are the outcome? So, what is the prognosis of this disorder or outcome of this disorder? So, in the definition of adjustment disorder, there is an expectation of good outcome. So, prognosis is good relative to symptoms remitting after the removal of the precipitating factor. If you remove the precipitating factor or aggravating factor, then prognosis will be very good. In 1975, Lune said that AD was found to be less severe and disabling than other major psychiatric. So it is less severe in nature. If you prevent, you can prevent it. The outcome of AD is very good. Or prognosis of AD is good in comparison to other psychiatric disorder in terms of chronicity, length of hospitalization stay, and disposition. So the prognosis is better than other psychiatric disorder. Two prognostic conditions or courses can be done either to resolve or to progress to serious illness. So, two things are there in prognosis, like either to resolve your problem or to move towards the serious of illness. Understood? So, this is anyway the prognosis of if you remove the stressful factor, if you remove the stressor, identifiable stressor, then prognosis will be good. Then how you will do the assessment that as you know, proper history collection should be made or collection of relevant information should be done from the parents or from any source. You have primary source, you have to collect the information to make the diagnosis. So how you can make the diagnosis? There are two tools can be used to make the diagnosis. One is adjustment disorder module of the mini international neuropsychiatric interview. That is a module, that is a tool. Another one is adjustment disorder module of the structured clinical interview for DSM-4 TR. So these are the tools. These are the standardized tools can be used to make the diagnosis. Then what is the treatment plan for the adjustment disorder? The fact that adjustment disorder are short-lived. So within 6 months, you will resolve your problem. So resolve with the passage of the time. So with the passage of time, your problem will be resolved. It is short-lived. And may explain the paucity of studies on the therapy of the disorder, especially randomized control trial, but no longer justify the idea that no specific intervention is required for this, unless the individual is acutely suicidal. Until and unless the individual is committing suicide, we have no specific intervention for this adjustment disorder. So with the passage of time, with the counseling, with the psychotherapy, the problem will be resolved or the adjustment problem will be resolved. So psychotherapy is usually best choice for adjustment disorder because the disorder is seen as temporary. It is short-lived. Okay, the problem is temporary and a somewhat normal reaction to a stressful event. So whatever reaction we are giving, that is a normal reaction to a stressful event. So it will go on its own way. The therapist works with the individual to find out new behaviors, ideas, and helps him to be able to deal more effectively with the problem. Here the psychotherapist will help the individual how to use the adaptive behavior and how to help him how to find out the alternative solution for his or her problem. In addition, the therapist helps the individual to find a clearer understanding of the issues. First of all, we have to understand our issues or problems. Then only we can find out the solution of the problem. If you do not have any insight about your problem, then you cannot find out the solution of your problem. So the treatment will often stress the significance of social support. So social support plays a vital role in resolving the problem in the individual's life. Like if your parents are very supporting parents, if your in-law families are very supporting, then you will have no adjustment problem. So social support is very essential or significant in individual's life. If there is an issue with stress, therapy may also include relaxation training and techniques. So, if there is stress, then this therapy can be given, this psychotherapy can be given to make you relax, and techniques will be given how to be relaxed, or relaxation technique training can be given to the individual. Then family therapy can be given, and it is more ideal for individuals with especially important if a person is an adolescent. If a person is an adolescent period, yeah, because developmental stressor is a factor. So for those, family therapy is very helpful. This is the appropriate therapy if the family is using a family member as a scapegoat. Suppose family member is blaming one individual, one adolescent, the family member is blaming. So this therapy should be given. Parents are always blaming their children that you are not doing this thing, you are not doing that thing. So in that case, the family therapy will be given to taught the family members how to set the discipline for the child, how to set the rules and regulations for the child, how to be care and love and affectionate towards the child. That therapy will be given to the family members. Sometimes family members identify a person as one of the problem, although the issue is family related. Always we are blaming in a family, this thing happened due to this. So it is a total family problem. But if we are blaming someone, then that person will be very demoralized and he may have the adjustment problem. So the family members can be educated about the disorder and gain knowledge of its seriousness. So we have to educate the family member what is adjustment disorder and how to gain the knowledge about the seriousness, how it can seriously or severely affect on individual. When the disorder is negatively affecting a marriage or romantic relationship, couple therapy may be ideal. So we can give the couple therapy also. Then what psychopharmacological management we can do? There is no specific psychopharmacological management for the adjustment disorder. Only the symptomatic treatment can be given. Like anxiety is there, so benzodiazepine can be given. Depression is associated because comorbidity is with depression. So we can give the antidepressant like SSRI and SNRI. SSRI is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, selective norepinephrine reuptake inhibitor. So that can be given for the treatment purpose. So in this thing, there are two things are there to make the balance, like load to bear or ability to bear. Load to bear, what are your loads? Like your demands, like vocational demands, social demands, family life events, problems. So many, you are dealing with so many problems. You are having load, and you have to make the balance with how to bear that load, or ability to bear, load to bear or ability to bear, or how to manage that load. So that is your mental strength, that is your physical strength, that is your environmental or social support. If three things are there, you are able to manage the load, or you are able to bear the load. So whatever the load may be, if you have mental strength, if you have willpower, if you have mental positive mental health status, physical strength, good physical health you have, and good social support you are having, any problem that comes in your life, that can be solved easily, that can be handled out easily. That is called your the balance metaphor. So what else we can do to in our life to prevent the occurrence of this adjustment disorder? avoid unnecessary stress. Don't take unnecessary stress. Stress will come in your daily life. So take it easy. You just handle the stress. It will come in your, will resolve in his own way. So it's short-lived. It is temporary in your life, but it can make changes in your life. So you have to take the things accordingly. Start a healthy habit, like eat nutritive diet, do exercises or yoga. You can do some relaxation technique when you are in stress or when we are confronting with a situation. So that will help you to overcome from that situation. Take advantages of social support in your life. So whoever your social supportive or supportive person in your life, you take the advantage, you take the help from them. Like if your parents are your support, then take the help from them. If your friends are your support, you take the help from them. Then support groups. Support, who are your support groups? Like in the world, you are not a person that you are having this problem. So many people are there, those are having same problem. They are confronting, they are coming with the same problem. So you found out that group, you find out that support group, and you discuss with them. You find out the, you will definitely, you will find out the better solution for your problem. So these are the things we can do for the adjustment. These are to resolve any stressful situation in your life. We can do, these are the things.